James Harden is averaging 37.3 points a game. All right, historic numbers. I'm going to tell you how historic. That is the fifth most points per game that anyone in NBA history has averaged. Now, granted, we're early. We're 10 games in.
Right.
So
still early, but
sure
for him to be able to maintain that. But right now, he's on a historic pace.
Last year, he averaged 36.1, which was the 8th highest. The only player ever, there's only one, even though this is the 5th highest, the only player ever to average more points per game in the NBA in a season is guess who, Rob?
Michael Jordan. Oh, and
I'm going to give you a second
I'm
choice.
sorry.
You
Wilt
got
Chamberlain.
it. I was about to say.
No, I know what
that's the easiest trivia question in the world. Wilt Chamberlain. Wilt averaged 50.3 one year, 44.8 another year, 38.4 another year, and 37.6. All right, Michael Jordan's highest scoring average, it happens to be 6th. He averaged 37.1.
Right.
But here's the problem. While we might applaud James Harden, and we both know the dude is the man.
He's a baller. Unbelievable.
He is a straight-up baller. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But there is no way, and I've said it before, he and Westbrook will not win a championship, and it's championship or bust for this Rockets team. At the very least, it's finals or bust. Because you could have kept Chris Paul to be good.
Because they were a step away from getting to the final.
Right. And so the problem is this. James Harden doesn't need to set some type of scoring record. What he needs to do is win a ring. And you will not win a ring averaging 37 points a game. And here's the proof. Of the top 50 scoring averages, individual points per game averages, in not only NBA history, Rob, but ABA history.
When they scored a lot of points in the ABA with that red, white, and blue ball.
Yes. The top 50 individual scores for a season in NBA and ABA history, only 2 men of that top 50 won championships. Not even Wilt Chamberlain. Michael Jordan, who did it twice, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who did it once.
Wow.
Beyond that, Rob.
What does that tell you?
Jordan's average when he won the championship, 32.6. That's the highest scoring average of an individual on a championship team. So let me put it this way. No one in the history of professional basketball in America has ever averaged more than 32.6 points a game
and won a
championship that year.
Okay.
The top 23 individual scoring averages in NBA and ABA history, they didn't win championships. So they need to sit down with James Harden. If I'm Mike D'Antoni or Daryl Morey or heck, Tillman Furtada, the owner of the team, I sit James down and say, look, show him these numbers.
You said Makuna Matata? What'd you say?
Tillman Fertitta.
Okay.
And say, do we want James? We know you want to win a championship. No one in NBA history has won a championship scoring this many points a game.
And you got to know your history.
Got to spread the wealth.
Know your history.
Russell Westbrook's down to like 21 points a game, which is still pretty good, but, I mean, it's definitely because he's playing with Harden.
We knew that was going to happen.
Averages 30, 27, stuff like that. So you got to spread the wealth. Rob, this is not a recipe for a championship.
Not at all. And I think that knowing your history and looking at it and realizing that if this is just about you wanting to score average 40 and do something like spectacular and not win, fine, I get it, and that's where you want to go. But this is not – it's like we saw, Chris, we brought this up as well, the defense when they scored 159 or whatever.
Right.
You won't win a championship, okay?
Right.
Dude, that's fun. Wow, we balled out. Yeah, whatever it was, 156 or something. But whatever it is, you will not, NOT, win a championship giving up 156 points or whatever it was.
Right.
It's just not going to happen for you. So playing this style doesn't help you long term. This is a throwaway game that won't matter when it all matters. This won't matter. So you need to know these things and just say this is not going to get us where we're trying to go unless, James Harden, you're not interested in going there. So I'm with you. This seems silly.
Now, that said, the Houston Rockets are leading the Los Angeles Clippers 30-13 as we speak. You think it'll hold up?
No.
Unless Kawhi's hurt or something, right? Kawhi's got 5 points in 9 minutes. What's Harden doing? Harden has 13 points in 9 minutes.
It's still early. The first quarter of an NBA game, it's just you just can't think.
I see a comeback.
I do too.
Now, granted, no, they're not on the second night of a back-to-back. Tomorrow will be the second night for the Clippers on the back-to-back. So Kawhi, of course, won't play, and Paul George is going to make his debut.
Oh, he's making his debut tomorrow. His debut. Yep. I can't wait to see this.
But, yeah, I mean, you got to spread the ball around. You have to. And James Harden, you've got teammates. Eric Gordon, who's off to a really bad start.
Well, he's out for 6 weeks, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's out.
He's off to a bad start. Maybe that injury will give him time to recuperate and get better. Russell Westbrook, get him to rock a little more. Clint Capella.
Those braids were too tight. He finally decided that he'd take those braids
Westbrook.
out. Did you see that? He had like a tight. It was tight.
Oh, yeah. He totally changed it. It was tight.
It looked uncomfortable. Like, wow.
It didn't.
Have you ever had braids? You've had braids.
Never.
I had it. I told you.
It's tight, right?
And it gives you a headache.
My wife's had braids.
Like when you first get it, it is. If they braid it real tight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. My daughters, all them have had that, and they said that. All right. Let's hear from you. Do you think the Houston Rockets or anyone can win a championship with somebody averaging 37 points a game? I say if Michael Jordan couldn't do it, James Harden definitely can't do it. But what do you think? 877-99 on Fox. Do the Rockets need to sit the beard down and say, look, tone it down a little bit, spread the wealth? 877-99 on Fox. Your turn to weigh in. The Odd Couple, Chris and Rob. James Harden, again, doing something historic. 37.3 points a game, more than anyone not named Wilt Chamberlain has ever averaged in American professional basketball. But I tell you what, nobody averaging more than 32.5 points a game, Michael Jordan, has won a championship in one of those high-scoring individual seasons. That's why, Rob, you know this. One of the reasons I say Jordan is the GOAT is because when he came into the league, he changed conventional wisdom. The thinking, the conventional wisdom when Jordan started in the league was that you couldn't lead the league in scoring and win championships.
Right.
Wilt Chamberlain, all the 2 championships he won, he didn't score a lot. 24 points a game one year, 14 points a game.
But when he was balling out and scoring,
right,
they didn't win.
And Larry Bird didn't lead the league in scoring when he won. Magic, of course, didn't. Kareem didn't.
Right.
The 1 year in Milwaukee. So we don't think this is the recipe, and the science backs us up.
All right, let's go to the line.
Win a championship, but that's what James Harden needs. Let's see what you think. Let's start with Michael in Washington. Michael, you're on with Chris and Rob.
Fellas, what's up?
What's
How
happening,
you?
man?
Hey, good. Not too long ago, when remember you couldn't win a championship being a jump shooting team, and then the Mavericks beat LeBron.
Very true.
And all that.
Well,
and all
Golden
that changed.
State
Everybody
really changed it.
Yep.
I'd say.
Yeah. No, let's give the Mavs their credit. But going back to Harden, the difference between Harden and Jordan is Harden plays no defense. He's scoring all these points, and when the playoff series happen, he always goes cold for 1 or 2 games. And the bad thing about that is when he doesn't score a lot, he's taking a lot of shots. So they're empty possessions. It's not like other guys are scoring and he's just not getting his shots. He's still heaving up so many shots that they just can't. There's no way you can win a championship like that.
No.
Golden State won it because they had Draymond Green facilitating the ball to 2 jump shooting scores.
Michael, we agree with you. I mean, your take is strong because we've seen it. I agree with that.
Nah, good point.
All right, let's go to Tony in Maryland. You're on the Odd Couple, Fox Sports Radio. Tony, what you got?
Hey, Chris and Rob, what's up?
What's happening, man?
What's up? How is it?
Hey,
and
man.
you got snow down there? Where are Tony in Maryland? Is it bad?
Say that again?
Is the snow bad? How cold is it?
It's about 25 degrees, so it's abnormally cold. This
Wow.
is not the norm.
No,
Yeah.
that's real cold before
Did y'all
Thanksgiving.
get snow?
Oh, very cold, man. Well, we had about 2 hours of snow, but it didn't accumulate to much. It was just
Okay.
a little bit of just slurries yesterday.
All right. Well, go ahead. What's your point?
Okay, man. I don't think Harden can win the championship only because, like the caller before me said, in the biggest moments in the playoffs, for some reason he shies away. He doesn't show up in those spots like Jordan does, like Kobe does. See, in the regular season, it's a whole different type of pressure. He could score these 37 points. He could get to the free throw line because it seems like it just comes so natural to him. But once the playoffs start and, their coaching has a lot to do with it, then you're so fatigued from doing so much throughout the regular season that he may not even have the energy to finish games in those big spots. Because every time he hasn't shown up in the playoffs, he's looked awfully fatigued to me. So maybe he does need to slow it down a little bit, distribute the ball a little more, and just kind of pace himself.
No, that's a good call. I mean, look, we know his rep, and it's well-deserved that he's had some really horrible playoff games. But he's also stepped up, and even though his team hasn't won, like last year against Golden State in that series in the second round, he averaged 35 points a game.
But when they needed a big win at home, they couldn't do it. He
couldn't do it, but he scored. He scored 35 with 8 rebounds, 5 assists in Game 6 of that series that they lost.
Right, that they lost, that it didn't wind up.
So, I mean, there's been games he just hadn't shown up. 12 turnovers,
no, we've seen that.
2 for 11
right.
field goals and all that.
Let's do.
But some of the games he's played well and just lost. Let's go to Hector in Las Vegas. Hector, welcome to the Odd Couple.
Hey, thanks for having me on, guys. I've been on a couple times before. I'm just, what I'm saying is, I don't know if these players exactly are all in on winning a championship as much as they are trying to cement themselves a place in the Hall of Fame.
You're talking about NBA players in general.
No, I'm talking about, we're specifically talking about Harden and Westbrook.
Okay.
I mean, Westbrook's averaging a triple-double. I mean, and he hasn't seemed like he's been the player who wants to be a team player in order to win a championship. And, I mean, everybody knows. I mean, even Michael Jordan, early in his career, when he was at his best, he was scoring 50 points a game and losing.
Right. When he averaged 37, and he averaged 35 another year, they didn't win it.
And Hector, the one thing I will say about Westbrook, which with the triple-doubles I will defend, his winning percentage is way higher when he gets a triple-double. Right. It wasn't like he had a losing record and he was just putting up numbers. They used to win at a higher clip.
No
right?
question.
It wasn't empty. Right. It wasn't empty.
I agree. And look, I mean, I think there are some players that everybody wants to win. But sure, there are a lot of players that, they want to win, but they want to get theirs more. They want to be a Hall of Famer. They want to be a 10-time All-Star.
Who said that? Didn't Chauncey Billups say that about Melo?
Melo, yeah.
That was the knock. You remember what he said?
He'd have 22, and we'd win, and he's kind of quiet and sullen. But we'd lose, and he'd have 30, and he's all right. Yo, keep your head up. We going to be all right. But, look, that's true. And Charles Barkley never won a ring. But he's a great player. Allen Iverson.
Yep.
And I do think.
And we never doubted. Do you ever doubt that Charles Barkley didn't want to win?
No. But he used to get criticized like that. Remember Scottie Pippen said Michael Jordan told him he'd never win because he didn't work hard enough on defense and things like that. I think he wanted to win, but I think like a lot of players, they want to be individual stars. And I don't begrudge that. I'm going to be honest with you. If I could have the career of Robert Horry or Charles Barkley, I'm taking Charles Barkley every single time. What about you?
No, I get that. Because those
maybe
that's not a fair.
Okay.
That's not a fair comparison because Robert Horry had a lot of big shots, won a lot of rings, but he wasn't the man on any of those teams. He wasn't. He was a really good player, clutch player. Charles Barkley was a star in the NBA.
Let me ask you this.
Yes?
Yes, I agree. It's not a fair fight. You got to probably go to a star. This is a tough one. Manu Ginobili or Charles Barkley. But Ginobili got, 3 rings?
He went
That's
3
a
of them.
tough one.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's recognized as a great individual player. Not as good as Barkley.
And he wasn't just
he
a
wasn't a
Robert
role player.
Horry.
He was a star.
He was a star, right. He wasn't Robert Horry.
That's a tough one.
He was a star in that team. He might not have started up, was the sixth man, right? But he was a star.
Here's another good one. Chris Bosh.
I don't want to be Chris
Barkley.
Bosh.
I'd rather be Barkley.
I'd be Barkley.
I'd rather be Barkley. Because Barkley's in the conversation for the top 20 players of all time.
And with Chris Bosh, I don't want to have those toothpick legs. So I think I want to be Charles Barkley.
You got toothpick legs.
Nah, my legs
But
aren't
you
that
got
skinny.
toothpick, arms and everything. It fits. It fits. You're not top
Thanks,
heavy.
Craig. No, I don't want to be top heavy.
Hey, it's the Odd Couple. I'm Chris. He is Rob. And we want to encourage all of you to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
That's right. You can listen to us on the radio, and now you can watch us as well, and it's fun.
No question about it. And remember, oh, yeah!